Hey everybody, welcome back to I Got This Pod with Lex and MGP. Today we have our very first guest on. She is a member at the gym that I train at, and she is 9 months pregnant with her third baby, and she has worked out throughout each pregnancy. Her name is Jessica Gibbs, and we were so excited to have her on talking about exercising throughout pregnancy, mentality, and so important, body image. Check it out and let us know what you think throughout this episode. Hey everybody, and welcome to I Got This with Lex and MGP. I am Lex and I've been a personal trainer over the last 5 years. Martha has been my client for 3 years, and over that time she has lost over 50 pounds and changed her entire perspective on life. Join us each week as we dive into health, mindset, and everything in between. Hey everybody, welcome back to I Got This Pod. Today we are interviewing Miss Jessica Gibbs. Jess is 9 months pregnant.
God bless her.
Yes. So we basically, when's your due date, Jess?
My due date is June 19th. So 1 week from the date that we are recording. So
that's like crazy.
We'll probably have to have a follow-up.
We will. And I think what's so funny too is we had to get this, and I was like, yeah, we don't have a choice. She could go into labor at any moment.
Even during this episode.
Yes.
yeah, I mean, who knows? There could be contractions that start and I'll be like, sorry guys, got to cut you off. We're going to the hospital.
That would be really exciting.
That would be exciting. That's for sure. Well, Jess, so I'm just going to kind of give background. You've been working out at Burn Fitness for quite a few years now. I actually was your first consult. I sat down with you after one of the classes that you took when you just joined Burn Fitness. And I remember that day. And I was like, I just love this girl. She's so talkative, so fun. And since that time, you've been so consistent with your exercise. You're on your third baby, and you have been working out consistently with every single one, but I know your exercise has been different with each one. Mm-hmm. So I definitely want to talk a little bit about that, but I'm sorry, how old are your two littles right now?
Yeah, so I have Henry, who's my oldest, who just turned 4. If he may come running up and say hi to us while we're chatting. I hear him running and coming to tell us his birthday right now.
Right.
It's May 24th, so he just turned 4. And then my daughter Elizabeth will be 2 in September. So, and then we have our third on the way. So we're gonna have 3, 4, and under. We're gonna have our hands full. It's gonna be a little crazy, but it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be so fun.
Going from what they said, a man-to-man defense to
zone coverage.
Zone coverage. Yes.
Zone coverage.
So I've never heard that before. What is that?
So right now, when my husband and I are both home, we can each have 1 kid.
Yeah.
When we have 3, it becomes zone coverage.
Hey, there's one.
Hi, Henry.
Say hi.
Hi,
When's your birthday, Henry?
May 24th.
Nice. Oh my gosh. Are you the big 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big.
But there's a whole year until May 24th.
Yeah, whole year.
Yeah. But then you'll be 5 in 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2 whole years and a little more of a year, I'll be 6.
You will be 6.
Right. Yeah, 4 plus 2 is 6. He loves math, Martha. So he I know, boy after your own heart. You want to go back to building, buddy?
Yeah.
All right, say bye.
Hi, Henry.
Sorry, that's the ages of our kids, and that was my oldest, Henry, who is a little chatterbox, as you can tell.
That's great.
like his parents. All right. Well, so I did want to ask you. You've exercised differently through each of your pregnancies. So I kind of want to learn, what did you do differently from your first, second, and third? I know your health journey completely kind of progressed every time you exercised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with Henry, we decided that we were ready to start our family, and we're a little bit surprised at how quickly we were successful. We definitely, when I got the positive pregnancy test, I was like, holy cow, that was really fast. And so I went on a 5-mile run before I told Peter. I just left the house and ran 5 miles.
Did you really?
I came home. Absolutely. I just left the pregnancy test on the counter, and I'm like, I just need to go clear my head because I'm like, holy crap, whoa.
Now, were you a runner before that, or was that just...
I was a runner. So at that time, I was training for the Detroit International Full Marathon. And it was when I got the positive, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be 8 weeks pregnant. Like, I'm going to be like in the thralls of the exhaustion of first trimester. Like, if I have morning sickness, like, oh my God, I'm running 26.2 miles, but I've trained for it. So like, I should still be good to be able to run it. And so there was just a lot of emotion to it. So with Henry, a lot of my kind of focus in what I had been doing previous for working out was very minimal strength, in addition to kind of the cardio aspect of doing like more of like that endurance long training for like half marathons and full marathons.
Right.
Obviously, the further along you get in pregnancy, the shorter the runs ended up being. You know, the belly got a little bigger, a little bit bouncier, a little harder on the joints. It became a little bit more incremental. So it'd be, you know, jog a mile, walk a mile, jog a mile, walk half a mile. And I would say I kept running until about 36 to 37 weeks with Henry. And then once I hit that far along, I just shifted fully to walking. And that was kind of just what my focus was.
So you didn't make it to the marathon?
I did run the marathon, 8 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, Jess, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that was
So Henry's ran a marathon then.
Yeah, Henry had cycling run a marathon.
He technically ran a marathon. Peter had a little sign that said, "Don't let that stowaway slow you down."
That's so
really cute. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely not, that was my third full marathon that I had done. And it was not, I mean, by no means was it a PR, but I mean, to finish it 8 weeks pregnant, I was really proud of myself. So that was
amazing.
So then, crazy at that point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was, and I feel like just the temperature fluctuation from the hormones too. Like I'd be running and it was a perfect temperature day for it, but I would just be, you know, at mile 5, I remember just like being the sweats, and I'm like, I shouldn't be this sweaty right now, but I know it's because of the baby and everything, you know, that was going on. So only had to walk, I think, a little bit of Belle Isle during that. And that's like, it's kind of when you hit the wall between miles 20 and 24.
Yeah.
And so Belle Isle, the way that, and I know they've changed the course this year, but the way Belle Isle was, you didn't end up with a lot of fans or like people cheering, and so you kind of just hit the wall, and then you don't have that like the support.
So you're like, at this point, I will walk.
Just walk. Like,
no one will see me.
Nobody can see me.
Exactly. I'm like, no one will know. I'm just slow right now.
That's impressive. So endurance was your key like focus, or running was your focus in fitness terms with Henry. I think I met you right before Elizabeth, or maybe
I was gonna say you met me because I joined the gym after, like, it was before I got pregnant with Elizabeth, but I got pregnant with her like within 4 months of joining.
Yes.
And COVID, like, and then it was like COVID and like it was just all kinds of craziness that kind of came. So, and with Elizabeth, because of COVID shutdown, gyms obviously were not open. And so that became like, okay, let's pivot. We have to figure out like what that's going to look like. Cause I had started to get into those group fitness classes at Burn and loved them. I loved the community, and I'm a competitive person. I'll own who I am, and having those other people in the class with me, I'm like, yes, like it pushes me. I love this. So I ended up shifting and doing a lot of the virtual Burn classes, or the Cyburn classes that you guys offered, but I was also instructing and teaching virtually for the mom and baby fitness classes that I also teach. And so that was kind of more of like a combo of more mostly strength, I feel. And I still kept up a little bit on the running with Elizabeth, but it was like no more than 3 miles. So that was more of like strength with short distance running instead of that endurance long distance running.
Okay.
And then with this baby, which Henry has sweetly nicknamed Darling, know what we're having. I feel like I have really shifted more into like HIIT workouts, like high intensity, for like that cardio piece. Walks with my dog because she's just insane if I don't walk her. And then like really doing like strength with, just more of those bigger compound movements and squats and doing like the strength classes at the gym and things like that. Like I was just there this past Monday, still doing the strength and, modifying as needed.
Yeah. So I had you in Synergy, our strength endurance class on Monday, and you were moving so full, like you could get the deepest, you had a deep goblet squat, you had an amazing, like you could still lunge. There's just, even almost at 9 months pregnant, your mobility and strength are still there because you've been training for so long. So with that, I do want to ask you, what differences did you see like post, because your exercise was so different with each one. So post each pregnancy, what did you see different with each one when you were trying to get, back in shape after having your baby?
With Henry, I felt like he was my first and I was younger. So like, there's always going to be that aspect.
Yeah.
One, right? Like each.
And how old were you when you had him, if you don't mind?
Henry, I'm happy to share. So Henry, I was 28, Elizabeth, I was 30, and then I will be 31 for this one. So
young, Jess.
I know. But I wanted to be a young mom. So when Martha talked about being a young mom and like, I'm like, I fully resonate with that. I'm like, yes, like I want to be able to be on the floor like with my grandkids.
You are a young mom, especially for this time in this generation. I think when you were you were a young mom then.
Yeah, because a lot of my friends who are my age, their kids are in high school now. My kids are in college, and I have one married.
That's so crazy. And how old were you when you had your first?
27.
That is a young mom in my eyes. I'm 10 years away from 27. It. Yes. Yeah.
Well, and it depends too, like for my husband and I, we are both very much old souls. Like when we met each other, like it was 2 months and we're like, yeah, like we're going to be married. Like it was, we knew. And so, and we both
like that's just so rare. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we were very, very fortunate and lucky, to find each other. And we are, we're definitely just an older soul. I mean, I remember, how schools give like the paper plate awards, where in elementary school, like this is like the funny one of like, oh, class clown or this or that. In 4th grade, I got the Rand McNally because my life had direction.
Oh, I like that. That's
like what 4th grader gets that? So I did.
4th grader gets the Rand McNally. Oh, that's so funny.
4th grader knows what Rand McNally is.
That's exactly it.
So I think that's part of also for us, like, we met young in college. And so we had been together for, 4 years, and then we were engaged for 1.5 years, and we were married for 2. And then it's like, all right, well, I mean, we've been together for like 10 years. Like, hey, I'm kind of ready for kids. Like, let's do this. So, but I would say with Henry, going back to kind of the recovery from delivery. So 28, like obviously younger, like, a little bit closer to prime for, female health. And I will say that, like, I feel like the muscle, like getting back to like having like core strength, especially because of like the growing belly, because I wasn't focusing as much on like the strength training aspect, it took a little bit longer for me to feel like I could be doing what I had been previously. Like I would say for him, it was like by about 9 months, I was like, okay, like I feel like my core is back to where I feel like it was previously, or at least close. And like going running felt like everything was kind of back in place, where for Elizabeth, having that combo of running and strength, I would say I started doing some of like the core recovery that you can do during the six week wait before you're like cleared for exercise. I started doing that with both of them after delivery. And with Elizabeth, I would say by 6 months postpartum, I felt like I was fully back to where I had been. So like it had cut the time by 3 months.
And amazing.
Like, yeah, that's really
good. And I was able to do more at like starting at 6 weeks with Elizabeth than I was with Henry. Like with Henry, it was like, we're going to start walking. I'm going to start doing like some, like glute bridges, working on the pelvic floor and, squats and things like that, just like rebuilding it. Where with Elizabeth, I felt like the pelvic floor and like my core bounced back faster because of the combo of the strength added in, like that made a huge difference. And again, 9 months with Henry, like a lot of women would be like, oh my God, that's an amazing recovery. Like it took me like 2 years. So, like in the grand scheme of pregnancies, I feel like my recovery has been short just because of the activity level, but having the added in strength made it even shorter and had me feel even more like myself and able to go and do the things that I wanted to.
So that would be my next question. And that's what I would, so that's what I 100%, it's also going to allow you to come back because your muscles will remember your strength training. Your muscles don't forget. So the more and longer you strength train prior, the quicker you're going to be able to come back after with that strength training aspect. So I feel like, I mean, it seems like it's definitely made a difference. I'm so excited to hear after this little darling, like the difference because you strength trained the most.
Yeah, this one has been the most strength training that I have continued, like is the latest into pregnancy too. Because I feel like with Elizabeth, like the strength training tapered off a little bit more towards the end and it was still, walks and like the cardio. But again, like once I hit that 37-ish week time, like the strength could still do some, but I felt like even, at that point where I was like, yeah, like let's not
push it.
Well, and it wasn't even push it. It was more that like just certain moves, just like I didn't have the same mobility that I have now just because of the intention that I've put on keeping that mobility through this pregnancy.
Do you feel better with this pregnancy because of that?
So cool, buddy. I'll come look at it when I'm all done. Okay. All right.
This is real motherhood, by the way.
Yeah, I see it.
The fact that I've been able to talk as much as I have without constant interruption and sounding like Tourette's has been impressive.
I wish I could show a reel of you doing our cyber fitness classes. It's just working out in this exact same like view or like maybe rotation and the kids literally running around you. And then at some point you'll pick up Elizabeth and use her as a weight.
Yeah. It usually because something has happened where, there was a conflict over a toy that, Henry's a little bigger and he maybe won. So then Elizabeth is like, I need mama to hold me and give me a kiss. And then she thinks it's fun when I hold her while I squat. So
and that's real life.
So at that point, if you're doing cybering classes, you have a baby inside of you and a baby on your hand. You are holding two children.
You don't need weight.
That's amazing.
It's definitely added weight for sure.
Yeah. I really wanted to know what motivated you to keep working while you were pregnant, because I know when I was pregnant with my first, I took it as a ticket to sit on the couch and eat ice cream. And well, that didn't go so well because he was born at 31 weeks and that was a whole thing. Not because of that, but
right.
And it did take me a long time to bounce back, even though I was young. What did keep you motivated?
I think two aspects. One, I mean, with Henry specifically, I had a marathon I had signed up for and I had already gotten in like a 20-mile training run. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm like prepared for this and I don't want to have trained all of this time to not do it. So like that kind of helped push me through those first 8 weeks of like, okay, like I'll make it through the marathon and then we'll see what happens. And those 8 weeks of keeping it consistent in that first trimester, it really helped for me anytime I will say, again, knock on wood, I've been fingers crossed. I wish this on every person pregnant. I didn't have bad morning sickness or nausea or any of that with any of my 3 pregnancies.
That's a blessing.
But I would have a little bit here or there, and I would go out and I'd go for a run and the nausea would subside.
Oh, nice.
And so in those 8 weeks with Henry, I found that going out and moving and being active helped to combat that aspect of like that discomfort and being like, oh, I just feel really blah and just like low energy. And so that, I think those 8 weeks for Henry really kind of like, because I had the race coming, it helped push me to stay working out. And then it also taught me that for my body personally, and I think in general, like science, when you look at the studies for morning sickness and things, I will come look at it when I'm all done. Okay, buddy? Okay, thank you.
You're so patient, Jess. I gotta say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but like you are so, maybe I don't think it's just because we're here, because I've seen you with them before. Like you are so patient. You never or like, buddy, wait, or like anything like that. You're so patient with them. It's so impressive.
I try really hard. I have my moments. I mean, with me there, every mom does, you know, like, there's times where you grab them by the arm and you're like, listen here, buddy, like we're done. But it is something that I've tried really. You can come say hi again, bud. He's tiptoeing in the background trying to be.
That's awesome. He's a welcome in.
He's excited for a new baby.
You're gonna be
And
such a.
Darling is what we nicknamed the baby.
Yep, darling is what we nicknamed the baby.
Yeah. Do you think it's gonna be a boy or a girl, Henry?
Boy.
Can we ask you a question?
Ooh.
Your mom is fit and strong, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to be fit and strong like your mom?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be taller than Daddy someday.
Maybe. Yeah.
Probably.
31 right now.
He is 31.
31.
But I'm only 4.
You're only 4. He's pretty tall too, isn't he?
Yeah.
That means you're gonna be really tall.
Well, Mama is 31 too.
Mm-hmm.
She is.
But Daddy is still taller than Mama.
But so Martha, to kind of jump back to the like what kind of motivated me for keeping working out with Henry, that kind of lesson on how much it helped me get through that first trimester and how much better I felt being able to get through kind of those first 12 weeks where just hormones and everything are everywhere. And so I feel like that really helped like kind of shift me into this focus of, if it helped me so much in the first trimester, obviously it's going to continue to benefit me like throughout the pregnancy. And I feel like when I was pregnant, there was a big push and a big shift kind of in that pregnancy time with Henry, where it went from, like my mom's generation, where like when I told them I was pregnant, they're like, oh, you can't carry anything, to like, like the ACOG guidelines basically saying, like working out through your pregnancy is actually really helpful and it will help with delivery and it's going to help with those things.
If you don't mind, that's the shocking thing is I've trained a lot of women and there are some who still sadly have that, like, I can't move too much. Or, and I'm not saying this with all, there are some pregnancies that are like, that you have to be careful with, and your doctor will recommend like just walking or anything along those lines. So it's amazing that we've come so far with education and medicine that doctors are aware, like the more you exercise, the more you strength train, the more you move your body, the better you're going to feel coming out of that pregnancy and taking care of that baby and probably that child's health as well.
I want to know, as a trainer, what challenges or things do you find you have to be aware of when you're working with a pregnant client? And then Jess, I guess you can kind of jump in on your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw out the funniest one that I come in every time. And Jess, you've definitely experienced this with me in classes. I under push, like I sometimes treat a pregnant woman like she is delicate. And the truth is, I think many times I'm like, can you do this? Like, are you okay? Like, are you able to do this? And you've had to be like, no, Alexis, I can do that. I'm fine. I'm not a piece of paper when I'm pregnant. Right. So I'm curious, like, how have you had to handle that as you've been in classes and with trainers?
So it's interesting seeing, like, there's trainers who've had more experience with, with pregnancy, and you can see that they have a little bit more ability to maybe modify things. I also think I have a little bit, I help the trainers a lot in the sense that since I do teach mom and like baby fitness and I have certifications for like prenatal and all of that, that like, it's like, okay, it's 6 minutes of core. And like, basically everyone looks at me and they're like, you just do what you know what to do. I worry about modifying in that way. But really the hardest part, during the 45-day challenge, when we did Fury, there was a lot of things with, what, buddy?
Who's your little son?
Well, Martha has a son, but Alexis doesn't have any kids yet. Yep.
We're going to continue this conversation in next week's episode. We've got a lot more to talk about with Jess on her fitness journey through pregnancies, motherhood, and beyond. So please join us again next week as we pick up with our special guest, Jessica Gibbs, and her sidekick and adorable son, Henry. I got this.
I got this.
Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed what you heard, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. Also, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at I Got This Pod. See you next week. And remember, I got this.